Welcome to a new episode of the Nomad Podcast, and it's been quite a while since I've done one of these. And I haven't really meant to delay the podcast. I don't think I've done one in like a month. I think it's just I don't know. It's just I haven't really had much time to do it. Well, I'm too lazy to do it, but I'm going to try and continue on doing it every Wednesday and Friday. Just it's the way I'm going to plan on doing it. But anyway, let's go ahead and get things started. A couple of shout-outs anyway. First off, Chucky's Playground, just a really great place to be. You know, my favorite place to just kind of hang out. You know, just talk with everybody who's there. You know, talk with some really cool people, really good friends of mine. And just a really cool place to be. If you haven't signed up, definitely sign up because we just a great place to be. There's really nothing more you can say about that. And another shout out to Movie Mayhem with Spanky and G. Just a really great show. I believe the latest episode that they did was Harold and Kumar. Yeah, that's it. A very Harold and Kumar Christmas in 3D, and that was a really good episode as well. I've never seen any of the Harold and Kumar movies. I've heard of them. I've just never seen them. But from what I've heard, that they're pretty funny. So I might have to check those out. At least the first and the third. The second doesn't really sound all that great to me. And the previous episode before that, I think they did Christmas with the Cranks, I think. And that was a really good episode. I really, really like Christmas with the Cranks. And I know a lot of people don't really think so, but personally, I really do like that movie. I think it's great. And that show, Movie Mayhem, is just so great. You know, with two wonderful hosts, you know, Spanky and G, just really cool people in reality as well. So, just a really cool show. If you haven't listened to it, definitely check it out. Because, just really, really cool thing to do. You know, it's just, I could listen to those two talk about movies or other stuff, you know, just all day. You know, it'd never really get old to me, honestly. And so now it's time to shoot the shuffle. At number 1, The Lords of Salem by Rob Zombie from Educated Horses. This is an okay song from Educated Horses. Educated Horses isn't that great of a Rob Zombie album, but it's an interesting track, I guess. Number 2, Ringtone by Weird Al Yankovic from Alpocalypse. And this one is a style parody of Queen, specifically their 1970s work. And anyone who knows me knows I really love Queen, especially their 70s stuff. So, really cool track. Number 3, Remedy by Cedar from Cause and Effect. This one is pretty good as well, you know, kind of straight modern rock song. And Cedar they're a decent band nowadays. I wouldn't really say that they're great, but I think that the song was pretty good. And their 2007 album, Finding Beauty in Negative Spaces, or whatever that was called, I thought that was pretty good as well. Number 4, Flight of Icarus, or however you say it, by Iron Maiden from Peace of Mind. And this one is an okay song. Really, that entire album is pretty solid, you know. Number 5, EMI by Sex Pistols from Nevermind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols. And this one is a pretty good song as well, you know. Number 6, 1999 by Prince from 1999. This one's a pretty good song. I sort of like the Purple Rain stuff a little bit better, but this one's pretty cool as well. Number 7, Shackler's Revenge by Guns N' Roses from Chinese Democracy. Now, Chinese Democracy is a pretty cool little record, you know, and this song is really good off there. Number 8, Beauty by Motley Crue from Generation Swine. And Generation Swine, I think, is probably a really underrated record. It doesn't really get a lot of respect that I think it deserves. It really does do a lot of experimenting. And I do like experimentation in music. I like when bands try something new. And not everything on the album works, but the stuff that does work works really well, and this song is really good. Number 9, Dirge for November by Opeth from Blackwater Park. This one is a really cool little song. Well, I shouldn't say little because it's actually pretty long. But yeah, it kind of starts off kind of very soothing, very clean guitar and clean vocals. Then it kind of gets really heavy. And Opeth is just a great progressive metal band. And number 10, Crazy Crazy Nights by Kiss from Crazy Nights. This one is a really good one as well. I really like Kiss's 80s stuff. I really think that's kind of underrated in some ways. Not too much to say, but just really cool and very enjoyable. So that's all for Shoot the Shuffle. Now it's time to talk about the discography of Nirvana. And I guess I'll go ahead and start off with the first album, Bleach, which was released on June 15th, 1989. And it's a pretty interesting album. It's actually pretty heavy. I wouldn't really say it's the same thing as Nevermind. It was kind of like sort of the beginning. It was sort of like their version of Marilyn Manson's Portrait of an American Family. It's good, but you kind of know that they can do really a lot better, and you know that they're just going to get a lot bigger from there on out. And it's really pretty interesting. Yeah, it's like, they have potential, they just haven't showed it just yet. And it's I wouldn't really say it's a memorable record because there's not a lot to say about this. Basically, if you're really curious as to what Nirvana sounded like in the late 80s before they hit their peak, definitely check it out. I wouldn't really say it's that great, though. Because, there's a few good songs on there, like Floyd the Barber is pretty good. Blue is a great song as well. About a Girl is pretty cool as well. Just those kind of songs. It can be a pretty heavy album. It might have been the first grunge record. I could be wrong about that, but it was probably one of the first mainstream grunge records, if that kind of makes any sense. And it was released on an independent record label in Seattle called Sub Pop. So it was very much an indie kind of. It was very much an indie record, So overall, there's really not too much to say about it. Basically, if you're just kind of curious as to how Nirvana started out, definitely check it out because it's a pretty interesting record. I wouldn't really expect too much from it. I wouldn't expect Nevermind type levels. But if you're really curious to see what Nirvana started off with, then check it out. So then we move on to the big one, Nevermind. And this album was pretty big. It was just very, very successful, and all the songs on there, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Come As You Are, In Bloom, Braid, just all of those songs are just amazing, and Yeah, it has some pretty good production, and it's also the first album to feature Dave Grohl as their drummer. And obviously, this was way before Foo Fighters and anything like that kind of happened. And this album was pretty big, And I think by January of '92, it replaced Michael Jackson's "Dangerous" at #1 on the charts. And that's a big deal. That is a really big deal because these up and comers replacing somebody as famous and notable as Michael Jackson, that was insane to hear about. So, I mean, that was pretty cool. And "Smells Like Teen Spirit." That's like the grunge anthem. Every time I think of Nirvana, that's usually the first song I think of them. Teen Spirit. That's really the first song I think of when I think of Nirvana. And then next up is "In Bloom," which is really cool as well. "Come As You Are." That's probably my favorite song off the album. I really like "Come As You Are." And then "Breathe" is just this kind of heavy track. It's really good. And "Lithium," that's a really cool kind of soft and then loud and soft and loud kind of song. And that's pretty cool as well. And "Drain You," that's really good as well. And "Stay Away." "Stay Away" is a great song. It was never released as a single, but it's still really good. And that's usually the kind of songs that I really like by a band. I sort of call them like album cuts. Deep album cuts. Not the songs that weren't released as singles or anything like that, but you can still listen to the entire album and just find something good. I listen to full albums. I don't really listen to singles all that much. I usually just really listen to, stuff like, I really listen to the entire album, really, just to see if it's good or bad. And oftentimes I'll find a song that I really like that wasn't released as a single or isn't as well known as other stuff. And "Stay Away" is really one of those deep album cuts. And it's really good. And the final song, "Something in the Way," which is a really kind of soft song. It's a ballad, really. It's a ballad. Just the line, "It's okay to eat fish because they don't have feelings." That's a really kind of Kurt Cobain-esque lyric. And just real good. And the interesting thing about this song is that it's 20 minutes long. But the actual song is not even 20 minutes. It's about 3 minutes or so. It's about 3 minutes. So about 3 or 4 minutes. And for the most part, it's mainly silence. About 10 minutes of silence, I think. And then "Endless Nameless," which is a hidden track. And that's about 6 minutes. And "Endless Nameless" is really just noise, basically. It's basically Nirvana kind of just making random noise. And it just happens to be a song. It's really cool to listen to, because, it's really interesting, kind of reminds me of Lou Reed, when he did his Metal Machine music back around 75 or so, which was just noise. It kind of reminds me of that, though this one is a bit more fleshed out than that. It's almost like a full song, but not really. But, yeah, it's really cool. And I mean, that was back in the 90s or so when they would do a lot of things with CDs, And I might have talked about this before, but they just did a lot of things regarding CDs. They would put hidden tracks at the end of them. And it was always really fun to see the hidden track, You would just keep on playing the CD. And the CD wouldn't actually end. It would just keep going on. And it was pretty cool to check out the hidden track at the end of everything, after everything was done. And Rob Zombie did that on Sinister Urge with Unholy 3. I'm trying to think of who else did it. Weird Al did it on one of his. It was actually parodying this. It was actually parodying Nirvana, of course. And I'm trying to think who else has done a hidden track. I guess Marilyn Manson. He kind of did a hidden track, a few hidden tracks. On Antichrist Superstar, there was this track 99, or The Empty Sounds of Hate. And it wasn't listed on the actual album, but you keep on playing it, and it'll go through like tracks. It'll go through a bunch of 4-second silence tracks, like track 16 to track 98 or something like that. All those are just silence, and track 99 is just like this kind of sound and kind of stuff. And on Mechanical Animals, which I think was only playable on a website. You put the CD in your computer, and it kind of links you to a website where a hidden track plays. And it's just, they did a lot of stuff like that in the 90s. And that was what was so great about CDs, was the fact that you could do a lot of things with a CD, a physical CD. Nowadays, with digital copies, there's really not that much you can do with it, which is kind of a shame, but it's just the way that the industry is nowadays. But anyway, back on Nevermind, that was just a really good album, a really great grunge album. That's usually the first grunge album I really think of when I think of grunge. And it's just a really memorable album. I'm sure everybody has heard at least one song off there. If you haven't heard it, what are you waiting for? Just check it out. See what all the buzz is / was about. It definitely deserves the hype that it got. So definitely check it out, because it's really, really good. And speaking of hype, that's where we get into the third and final Nirvana album, and In Utero. And I wasn't born around this time. I think I was born a couple years after this album was released. But I could only imagine, I could really only imagine the kind of hype that this album got. You know, this had to be like off the chain kind of hype, you know. There was no way, you know, you could top Nevermind. And I really don't think you could ever top Nevermind. And I really don't think this one does, you know. This one, compared to Nevermind, I wouldn't say it's that great, but at the same time, it's pretty good for what it is. The production is a bit more rawer than Nevermind. It doesn't necessarily go back to the raw sound of Bleach, but, you know, it kind of has more of a natural sound than Nevermind did. And there's still a lot of great songs on there. And and there's a lot of good album cuts on there, like Scentless Apprentice. That's a really great song. And Heart Shaped Box, that was really the first Nirvana song I actually heard. So if it wasn't for that song, I probably wouldn't be a Nirvana fan, because Heart Shaped Box was really the first Nirvana song that I heard. And that's a really great song, you know. And Frances Farmer Will Have Her Revenge on Seattle. That's a really good one as well. Very Ape is great as well. Penny Royalty, Tourette's is great. And All Apologies, that's a really good ballad, you know. And some of the songs on here are kind of weird, because some of the songs on here are only about a minute or so long. Like, Very Ape is about a minute and 56 seconds. Tourette's is a minute and 35. Those were the type of songs that alternative rock bands and grunge bands kind of did back then. You know, and this album was pretty good, you know. Just, you know, I don't really know what else to say about it. Just, it's really pretty good. It isn't as good as Nevermind, but for what it was, I thought it was fine. And so this was the final Nirvana album, studio album. But as far as actual album at least when, well, not really when Kurt Cobain was still alive. I think this was released following the death of Kurt Cobain. So In Utero was the last album to be released during Kurt Cobain's lifetime. And the live album, I want to talk about MTV Unplugged in New York. Because this was really cool. And a lot of the songs on here were not Nirvana songs. They were mainly cover songs. There were a few songs from them, like About a Girl and Come As You Are. But for the most, and most of them were Nirvana songs, but some of them were also cover songs. All apologies, the Unplugged version is really cool as well. The About a Girl version is also really good. Just a lot of stuff is really cool. The Man Who Sold the World cover is really cool. And that's a really good David Bowie song, by the way. It's a David Bowie cover. And their cover of Lead Belly's Where Did You Sleep Last Night is really great as well. Particularly Kurt Cobain's kind of scream towards the end of it. That's really good. And so, yeah. The Unplugged album is really good. It's very, very good. And it was released after Kurt Cobain's death, but I think it was recorded before Kurt Cobain's death, just a few months before. So on April 8th, 1994, he was found dead at his home. He might have committed suicide 3 days prior. And it was a really big deal because MTV announced it. Back when MTV actually still cared about the music scene. Kurt Loder reported it first, which I think it's how a lot of people heard about it. Which is really a testament to how big MTV was back then. But it was a really big deal, And they also did a compilation album in 2002 titled simply Nirvana. And there was also a new song called You Know You're Right, which I think was recorded during the In Utero era, if not after. Might have been like one of the final songs that Kurt Cobain recorded. And so that's really it for Nirvana. It's a really good band that really did accomplish a lot in such a short time. And in some ways, they really remind me of the Beatles in that respect. They weren't around for that long, but what they did in such a short time, they really accomplished quite a lot. And not a lot of bands can really say that. Not a lot of bands can really say, like, we accomplished, so much. Nirvana basically, in some ways, they started a revolution. Really, a musical revolution. With the whole grunge scene and so forth. So Nirvana is a very important band. And they definitely deserve the respect and dues that they've got. And so Nirvana is a great band. If you haven't listened to any of their albums, definitely check them out. Because they are just a great, great grunge alternative band. So that's all for the Melmet podcast. And as usual, I'm not going to announce now. Now I'm not going to announce what the next one is because I want it to be a bit of a surprise. So what will Friday be? I'll try and record one tomorrow as well and post one tomorrow. This one's a little bit late, but I'm going to try and post one tomorrow on Friday, at least by the time this gets posted. What will it be? Well, you just have to wait and see. So tune in next time, and I'll see you next time.